Hey there, it is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
You're watching us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. There on the screen is Brett Gorney, and he is Servant Golf, Purpose Driven Golf. It is a great story, great ministry. We want to find out more. Brett, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rick and Dan. Thanks for having me on.
We're glad to have you on. Where in the metro area are you living?
I am down in the kind of Candler Park, Edgewood area, just east of downtown.
Okay. All right. So you're ITP then. Wow.
Total ITP.
I like how he said that. Total ITP.
Yeah.
It's like the OTP a couple of years ago. It didn't work yet. So
yeah, yet.
Well, since you live on the inside, your favorite course on the inside that you get to play?
That I get to play?
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten to play Peachtree multiple times, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's a friend used to be the chef there, and we'd trade golf lessons for Monday golf rounds. But being a PGA of America professional, we get sometimes they're allowed some access to some of the places, whether it's invites by members. But East Lake's obviously a great one.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot ITP actually.
Yeah,
just a few. Years ago, I lived in PTC. And that's, 100 miles of golf cart track. And at that point, I think 3 golf courses, just a beautiful place to live. I don't know if you've ever been able to play there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been down there. It's a lot of great courses. I hang my hat over at Charlie Yates a lot, which is right next to East Lake. That's a little public, 9-hole executive course, great driving range, great practice area. So we take some of our golfers there after our events. Same thing with Bobby Jones, another great place to, in-town local public. So
that's awesome.
Have you aced any of the putt-putt courses around the area, Brett? I mean, that's mostly what I play is putt-putt.
I did try out Putt Shack recently. If you haven't been to Putt Shack, that's a great spot. It's like an indoor putt-putt. It's kind of a top golf concept, but just putting.
Oh, cool.
So it's not as demanding on the non-golfers.
Yeah, that's good. That's me.
Well, Brett, are you the founder of Servant T Golf?
I am.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. You're a golfer, and you've melded a huge ministry out of what you guys do. I love what you guys do. How did you come up with this idea to start off with?
Yeah, it's a cool story. I mean, there's a ton to it, but the soup and nuts of it is that I had been leading some mission trips to El Salvador, to a children's home down there, starting in 2013. And we'd go, we were in 2015, we were down there with a group in October. And we'd serve this children's home, Love and Hope Children's Home. We would go down, serve the kids, spend time with them. We'd do some project for somebody in their community. And then at the end of the trip, we would take a couple days at the beach. So just to relax, reflect on the week, have a couple beers, have some good seafood. But really just an opportunity for us to just chill out. And the kids would come to the beach. We'd rent this house with a pool. They'd go back home for the day, but we'd stay over there a couple days. And in 2015, we were coming back to the airport to leave, and we passed a new golf course being built. And I looked it up on my phone and realized it was a Pete Dye design, which he's a famous golf course designer in his company. And I was just kind of like, that'd be really cool if one time I could get a group of golfers and we'd come down and we'd serve and then tee it up. And so that's where serve and tee came up as a word. And I just made up a word, right?
Yeah,
so
I like it.
We want to be servants and we tee it up together. So, but I wasn't really quite ready to start things up back then. I just started. I have a golf event company. And was finding my footing with that. And honestly, that was our 3rd trip we'd done. I just need to learn how to lead myself better, as well as learn how to lead others better. You think taking 9 adults down to a foreign country would be easy, but
like herding cats sometimes.
yeah. So, but I also had to learn to you're organizing all this stuff, and I work for myself. I'm used to do a lot of things by myself. I handle things well by myself, but you got to learn to let go of the reins, and I caught myself multiple times and had a couple run-ins with trip guests where we're just kind of butting heads a little bit. And so I just had to learn more of the ins and outs of leading mission trips and learn a little bit more about the nonprofit world as well. So 2018 is when I decided, all right, let's, I kind of got things under control. Let's get the 501c3 and get things started. So we started with a trip to Guatemala in partnership with Habitat for Humanity in November, December of 2018. And so I actually went down early first, connected with a coffee farm family down there, Thrive Farmers Coffee. You guys might have heard of them.
Yeah.
But I went and played some golf with a couple of members who were on the board for Habitat Guatemala, and just set some relationships with the golf courses down there. They're all private. And then the team came down and we did a home build with Habitat. And then the next year we did it again. A couple of us went down early, played some golf, and then the team came down. And so it's not always all golfers, as we're starting out, which is kind of like, hey, there's some of us, but eventually we'll get there, and then obviously 2020 hit, and so we haven't traveled at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go back in time a little bit and tell us how your love of golf came about, and your love of serving and your love of God came about, and then came together.
Yeah. So golf. My dad is a golf freak, like golf nut, golf channels on all the time. Golf. If you could do that old Forrest Gump, parody of golf, old golf stew, golf.
That's funny.
But so I learned to play from him, and just watching him, and went to college for professional golf management out at New Mexico State, and got my PGA of America Class A certification, and shortly after, and started teaching golf. I moved to Atlanta in '98. Started teaching golf, and that was my main role in the business versus getting out of the club pro role, working at a country club, and then just ended up getting into traveling. I got into some international jobs, teaching golf overseas in Hong Kong and back here in the U.S. And I played a little bit. I tried playing professionally on I played out of Hong Kong. I got to play in some Asian tour events, and then Hooters Restaurants had a mini tour called the Hooters Tour, and I played on that in 2001 for a year. But I actually kind of lost my love for the game when playing professionally. Just I wasn't good enough, and I lost the fun in the game when even par became no good anymore.
Wow.
And I actually quit working in golf for about 3 years. I kept my membership to the PGA, but I was just burnt out, and so I started bartending actually, and to make some money, and then started this home-based business. And during that time, I feel like that was when I didn't grow up in church. We did the Christmas, Easter Catholic things. That's about it.
Yep.
God really wasn't much a part of my life, other than I knew about him, but he wasn't there. So during that season of not working in golf, a girlfriend of mine had invited me to Buckhead Church, and that was my first exposure to big kind of mega church, non-denominational, not a service I was used to seeing. And to me, it was great free life advice messages is what I kind of attributed it to. Andy Stanley. He's a pretty good communicator. But when that relationship ended, my church walk ended. And then fast forward to 2009, I made some poor decisions. I was making bad decisions. I wasn't really I was sort of working in golf, but I was mainly bartending, making a lot of money at a popular spot here in Buckhead. And just my priorities were off. And I made some poor decisions when it came to dating. I made some poor decisions at work, and I ended up getting fired from the job, which put me at a really low point. But then I met a gal that I thought was the one, and she was a Christian, and started going back to church with her, and started digging in and reading the Bible a little bit more. And at the start of 2010, that relationship ended. It rocked me. And because I was kind of set on like, wow, this could be the one. And but it's times like that where what I realized, was we go through these highs and lows in life. And I was at a low point, and it's interesting, how we respond in those. The important thing is, how do we respond? What do we turn to?
Right.
In terms of and then who do we turn to? And I think that's most important. And put it in a golf term, kind of who are the caddies in your life? Caddies carry the weight and and guide us back to the fairway when we're in the rough, or hit it out of bounds sometimes. And I was clearly out of bounds at this point. And honestly, my old response, how I would have responded in the past, would have been to just kind of get some of the guys and go out. And but I had made a New Year's resolution in 2010 to start reading in the Bible every day, because I wanted to have more conversations with this gal about faith. And so when that relationship ended, I just turned to the Word. I turned to Google because I didn't know what to look for. But I just started digging in for verses on hope and sorrow, and what am I gonna do? And then I dove in at Buckhead Church, and dove into a new who of community there. And then a buddy from college who had been leading a similar life to me in the past, he had given his life to Christ 10 years earlier, reached out to him and just had a bunch of questions, and he helped me get a better understanding of just what my relationship with Jesus could look like, and what it means to have a personal relationship with Christ. And so his name's Heath Talbot. I love the guy. He ended up praying with me to accept Christ on the phone that night. That was in February 2010.
Wow.
And and then God just got to work. He just gave me a really strong conviction to say no to these old ways of life and old friends. Put me in with some new friends, a new community. Got involved with this Cloud Walk ministry and Life Compass group. Got involved with these solely business men's retreats, and that's where I really got into volunteering and serving some more. Went on my first mission trip to Haiti through Buckhead Church in 2012, and I love international travel. I've been able to do a bunch of it through golf and just personally. And obviously I love golf, and and that's why I started leading my own mission trips with these groups of friends. There were some things that just kind of the way God worked in terms of getting me down to El Salvador that first time. And so, it kind of came to a point where it was like, I can do anything in the world I want to do. Fortunately, I don't have the limitations that come with marriage and kids. Yeah. And I was like, how can I combine my gifts and my talents? And that's something God really pressed into me a lot, and still does to this day, is how well am I using my gifts and talents to serve others, and how was I uniquely created to be? And because I went through this phase of, back during my faith journey of trying to be somebody I wasn't. I looked good on the outside, but I was a train wreck on the inside, right?
Yeah.
So how can I use my gifts and talents in golf and my ability to connect people and my desire, my strengths in organizing events and things like that, and love for international travel, and smash all that together into a purpose-driven sort of career. And that's where this servantee thing was birthed out of, to be for the most part.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah. Servantee Golf, purpose-driven golf. Good stuff. Go to servantee.org to find out more. Brett, we'd love to talk to you again. We do have to go to a break, but you got an incredible story, and love what God's doing in you and through you, all you guys. And we'll talk after the first of the year. Brett Gorney, again, Servantee Golf. Check it out. Whether you're a golfer or not, check it out. Servantee.org. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.